Imagine you've owned your home for 18 years. You've built a life there, made memories, and paid your mortgage like clockwork. Then, one day, you discover it was sold on the courthouse steps for $3.24. This isn't a hypothetical nightmare. It's actually happened to Trisha Quigley in Georgia. She didn't lose her home over a missed mortgage payment. It started with an $800 dispute with her homeowners association. A tiny dispute spiraled into a nightmare, piling up late fees and legal costs until it hit a staggering $10,000. That's the scary side of an HOA. When you buy your home, you're forced to join their private club and agree to rules buried in a mountain of paperwork. That agreement can turn a small mistake, like leaving a garbage can out, into a costly legal mess. Today, we're exposing the step-by-step playbook that allows a committee of your neighbors to legally take your home right out from under you. And that's the first domino. It always starts small. Let's say our homeowner, Sarah, forgets to pull in her trash bins for an extra day. Her account is now delinquent and turned over for collection. Her $75 issue got lost in legal fees and admin costs. In another case, a debt snowballed to over $8,600, with more than $6,000 of that being attorney's fees. It's now a $500 monster. The debt isn't about the trash cans anymore. It's about the cost of collection. She's on the hook for all the inflated costs. Every call she makes just adds to her bill. The tone is sharper, mentioning the CC&Rs, the covenants, conditions, and restrictions. The HOA places a legal boot on her house, preventing her from selling or refinancing until the debt is paid. Then, the final notice arrives. Notice of intent to foreclose. A $50 debt has turned into the HOA, trying to force the sale of her home. It's like playing a game with rules you never even knew existed. Before long, the first letter shows up. A friendly reminder with a $50 fine. Frustrated and busy, Sarah just sets it aside. A month later, another letter arrives with a $25 late fee. These aren't just suggestions. They're a private contract. It's like clicking I agree on terms you never read. But instead of sharing your data, you're giving a private entity the power to fine, sue, and foreclose on you. In states like Florida and South Carolina, an HOA can pursue foreclosure even if your mortgage is completely paid off. At 60 days, the third letter arrives, and this one is from a law firm. This is where it gets nasty. But many others allow non-judicial foreclosure, a faster, scarier process where the HOA acts as its own judge and jury, completely outside of a courtroom. California generally won't allow foreclosure until a debt hits $1,800 or is a year old. A 2024 Colorado law requires the debt to equal at least 6 months of dues and caps attorney's fees. Homeowners in Houston have been blindsided by thousands in fees, suspecting that people with low mortgage balances are being targeted. But it's not a magic bullet. The bankruptcy plan fails, the HOA can unpause the foreclosure and pick up right where it left off. In one case, a single mother filed for bankruptcy twice to save her home, paying over $5,600 in the HOA's legal fees alone. The association still kept trying to proceed with the foreclosure. When collection attorneys profit from escalating a dispute, the incentive is to fuel the fire, not put it out. North Carolina has also pushed for rules to prevent foreclosures over fines alone. Open every piece of mail, document everything. Respond using certified mail for proof of receipt. So how do you stop this from happening to you? We want to hear from you. Have you had a nightmare experience with an HOA? Or do you have a success story about fighting back? Share it in the comments below. Reading them is proof that you are not alone, and your story could be the warning that saves someone else. And this isn't just a story. In Colorado, a family's $480 in unpaid dues ballooned into a $5,300 judgment. If it looks like legal gibberish, pay a lawyer to translate it for you. This contract will dictate the next chapter of your life. They're volunteers, and many of these nightmares start with simple miscommunication. Panicked, Sarah calls the law firm, offering to pay the original fine. They tell her it's too late. The next step is a lien. So, how can a neighborhood committee wield this kind of power? It comes down to two things: the contract you signed and state laws. And if lawyers get involved and the debt climbs, find your own attorney who specializes in HOA law. But it almost always starts with a small, Preventable mistake. A story of how unchecked power can turn a simple dispute into financial ruin. Knowing their playbook helps you keep your home truly yours and feeling cozy. When you buy a home in an HOA community, you are legally bound by its governing documents, the CC and Rs. This power is then supercharged by the government. Most states have laws giving HOAs the right to place liens and foreclose on them. The process can be pretty different. Some states actually need a judicial foreclosure, which means you go through a real trial with a judge. It's not just a walk in the park. Some states are finally realizing these abuses, but the protections are just a mess, not a real shield. What can you really do in a situation like this? It's like a classic David versus Goliath battle. Here's the kicker. Goliath is using your own hard-earned cash to pay for his fancy lawyers. Bankruptcy can actually be a lifesaver. When you file, it kicks off an automatic stay that puts a stop to all those collection actions, including foreclosure. This gives you some breathing room to negotiate and figure things out. It's a chance to take control of your situation. The best defense is a good offense. Cannot afford to be reactive. The moment you get that first notice, act. The single best way to protect yourself is to be an informed, engaged member of your community. Before you dive into buying, definitely check out the HOA's governing documents. You'll want to know what you're getting into. You definitely want to check out those HOA board meetings. Remember, these board members are just your neighbors, not some big bosses calling the shots. Think of a violation notice like a fire alarm. Don't ignore it. Just jump on it right away and challenge it if you think it's off base. Losing your home to your HOA is devastating, but it almost always starts with a small, preventable mistake, a story of how unchecked power can turn a simple dispute into financial ruin. By understanding their playbook, you can make sure your home stays exactly that, yours. If this video opened your eyes, share it with anyone you know who lives in an HOA community. Spreading this information is the first step toward demanding change. If you want to see more content that exposes the systems designed to take advantage of you, make sure you subscribe.